Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Super Deluxe Gamescast. It is Thursday, June the 2nd, and unfortunately, not much has happened. So there's
slow news week.
Very little to talk about.
So we're just gonna play Smash or Pass, and
yeah, absolutely. We're as long as we're smashing that like button. My sense of humor sucks.
as long as we're
You are such a boomer.
I am.
I love you
can't
though,
help it.
John.
I can't help it. So, guys, how about that state of play today? I don't think anyone was expecting anything quite that big. Like we knew we were going to get.
I am all about not expecting something quite that big. So I was very.
Good night, everybody.
I think that's a.
Let's show everyone.
Is that a record? Lord, are we not even a minute in the show?
We have made it 60 seconds in.
Wow. Wow.
Listen, all right. If you don't want that quick of quips, then you should not have me on this.
God, I thought you were going to go for another one right there.
Nope.
Like, yeah. Wow. Bravo, Britt. No, seriously.
I've been gone for a while. I gotta.
You gotta get your licks in.
You gotta spice it up a little bit. So guys, Cam is here. Cam Hawkins has joined us once again for like his umpteenth appearance on the podcast at this point.
Hell yeah,
Cam, quite a fucking day, my man. Like,
yes, quite a
holy God, like there is. We actually are not even going to talk about what we've been playing this week because there is simply too much video game to talk about. So what we're going to do is obviously we're going to run through the state of play and we're going to run through everything we saw there. And I think we're going to do it in order, right, guys? Is that the best way to do it?
That's a good way to do because almost everything in this 30-minute presentation was worth
discussing
some amount of attention.
So if you're here for that glorious Final Fantasy 16 conversation, it's coming. We're gonna.
Sorry, my wife is throwing food under the door crack again.
Gotta save the best for last.
We're saving that shit for the end. You're gonna have to stick with us.
Is it like a slice of pizza that you're just?
That's too much candy.
Oh, okay, it's candy. All right.
Oh yeah, I thought she was like sliding pizza under the door to him or something.
No, I have my piece. God, no, I can't eat all of this.
I'll eat it.
Continue. Hang on.
So at any rate, let's go ahead and kick things off here. So. I can't fucking believe how much there's to talk about. I'm still riding that high too. Like there were so like I really feel like this state of play, there was something literally for everyone.
Yes.
Like everybody ate. Mm-hmm.
Everybody ate. Like whether you 100%. Love horror or action adventure or fighting games or indie games like VR, like fucking everything was here. And we'll start with what I think everybody initially thought was the Last of Us remake.
That's yes, what 100%. Yeah. I was like, oh, Last of Us remake.
Yeah. And then like those maracas kicked in. I was like, this doesn't sound very. And I was like, oh yeah. So no. Resident Evil 4 remake, a game that has been one of the worst kept secrets in the entire industry for some time now. We all knew this game was coming. And I also, by the way, I thought it might be revealed here. I didn't think we'd get as many big reveals as we did alongside it. But Resident Evil 4 Remake announced for March 24th, 2023.
Can we pause for a second?
We can.
Because, y'all, we got to talk about the sheer amount of shit that just got flung at Mach speed under my door.
What
we have all of these...
Are those Lindt chocolate balls?
Those are all Lindt chocolate balls, but that's not it. Also,
they're truffles.
Not
balls.
Two full size Hershey's for some fucking reason, and then strawberry Kit Kat, strawberry Kit Kat, strawberry Kit Kat, strawberry Kit Kat, strawberry Kit Kat.
What the fuck?
Strawberry Kit Kat.
Derek, he's
strawberry Kit Kat.
I refuse. Derek's just holding up the same strawberry. He's just holding up the same strawberry Kit Kat.
No.
We'll run over.
Strawberry Kit Kat. Strawberry Kit Kat. Those were all individual strawberry Kit Kats.
What the fuck? Why?
I don't know. You have to ask my fucking wife.
What the hell happened?
It's Halloween all year round.
She just injected candy under the door at me. Weaponized.
Hey, I want to
Anyway,
I want to
continue.
give a quick shout out to Matron Adia in chat. We've had her on before. Great person. She's got an awesome Twitch channel. Go follow her on Twitch right now. Go do it. It's an order from Dad. So guys, Resident Evil 4. Right off the bat, one of the first things that jumped out at me was it seems like they are really amping up the horror in this one. They're really leading, like, because Resident Evil 4, it was, a creepy game, but it was also had a lot of camp. That's when the series kind of started to veer, into a more action-oriented franchise.
It seems like exactly what I think a lot of people were expecting, which is Resident Evil 4 remade in such a way that puts it in line with this kind of modern post Resident Evil 7 era of Resident Evil.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it now people can't complain that it's such a different game than the others when
right.
You're kind of starting fresh and all the games are playing alike. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays among 2 and 3. And I will say I hope they bring Code Veronica over. I hope they do that.
That makes sense for it to be next. Yeah,
it needs it real bad.
So things that we saw in the trailer, obviously, Osmond Sadler was featured in the trailer. Very tall, a lot taller than I remember him.
You didn't get to see Sadler alongside any other people though. So
yeah, but I don't know, man. He looked elongated.
I think the biggest thing for me was Ashley. I mean, everybody's a little different.
Ashley looks like Ashley is a teenager now.
Ashley looks like a high school girl, which
she doesn't look like
good.
She doesn't look like a teenager's, like an adolescent's head got mashed onto an adult woman's body.
I love Resident Evil 4, but let's be real. Ashley in that game, it is gross that she's meant to be like almost a high schooler and underage, and yet she's walking around with big jiggly tits, like with her own physics, and you can look up her skirt.
Derek, let's not forget Louise Sarah. I didn't know the president's daughter came
equipped with ballistics. Okay, we can take about 20% off the top there, bud. But
yeah.
But yeah, no, I look at this design and that reads to me high school girl. Like, if you've ever actually seen what a 15 or 16-year-old girl looks like, I don't know. I mean,
I'm a little bit experienced in that.
Yeah, right. And I mean, that's not to say, obviously, that girls that age can't be built like that, but it's about the camera framing and,
all the sexualization of it, right?
Right. Versus her wearing an outfit that I might more realistically expect her to be wearing around that. I don't know, but it looks excellent. Seeing the path to the village, in remade that first house. Oh
yeah.
RE4.
Yeah, and I love these shots. So it looks like we're gonna actually get we're gonna see Ashley getting kidnapped. That's what I got from the trailer. It looks like because there's a shot of her running. So I am assuming this means we might get
she was a high school student. Was she a college student?
No, I thought she was high school. I thought she was high school.
I thought so. Anyway,
listen, I will Google this. You guys continue.
Okay.
Ashley.
So guys,
it's Ashley Graham, which you have to be careful because you'll also get the model. So
what do we want to see out of Resident Evil 4 remake? We know that Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake.
Oh, she's 20. Okay, so she's not yeah.
No fucking way.
That's less gross. That's not gross then.
That's less gross.
It's just usual games being kind of objectifying of women. So, okay. I could swear I thought she was a high school student.
Yeah, me too.
Many times I've played that game.
I really thought she was.
There's a Reddit thread that's just titled "For Nerds Crying About Pedophilia, Ashley is 20."
I mean,
wow.
That's a weirdly defensive way to put that, isn't it? Huh.
Right. That's about what you'd expect from Reddit.
I don't trust any person. Right. I don't trust anyone who uses that as a mic drop line.
That whiskey was down the wrong pipe there. So Resident Evil 4 remake, Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes had fundamental differences from the first games. And I know a big bone of contention. Well, 3 specifically. The remake was missing entire parts of the original game, like the clock tower. The
clock tower wasn't that big of a part of the game. It's one boss fight in one area.
Right, but I mean, the clock tower was one of the best areas of the game.
Don't make me fight you about Resident Evil 3 live on stream.
And Derek, is this a battle you want to wage against me?
not in this. I don't want to waste too much podcast time.
You could big man. You could say that now you're back home. You're not in front of me
Resident Evil
anymore.
3 is
Only
good.
thing I can remember about the clock tower is that it was important to get to, and then I don't remember anything beyond that. So it was like I feel like the build up to the clock tower was more like memorable than the actual clock tower. But that's
Anyway,
neither here
if
nor
the
there.
question is like how different and what is going to be different about this game, I don't think it's going to be that much.
Well,
right? I don't think we're suddenly going to have ghosts. Like,
no. What I wanted to ask was, what do we want? Like, assuming that something might get cut, which we don't know that it will. But what is something that we absolutely
the island? Fuck
have
the island.
to have? Well, no, not even the island. What is something we need to stay in?
Oh.
Like what is something that has to stay in for us?
The merchant, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking more like
buying?
Thank you.
Well, Del Lago's staying in, obviously from the trailer. So
right.
I need to get rid of the spiders so I can play it.
I don't think there are any spiders.
There are spiders in 4. That's the second time I was told this today, but so many people told me in the past.
I remember the invisible, the Novista doors. I'm trying to remember the spiders.
Are they? I don't think there's spiders there.
Someone needs to replay Resident Evil 4 and then tell me if there's actually spiders. Because
I don't think there's spiders.
I have not played Resident Evil 4 for all these years.
I'm going back to Google. Let's see
I can actually confirm to you because I played that game like almost.
I played that game so many times. I do not remember spiders.
There are spiders in 5, but
I know there's spiders in 5s.
Somebody said, "Does Resident Evil 4 have spiders?" Yes, there were no spiders in the original Resident Evil 4.
Yes, there were no spiders. Well, that's not.
There are no spiders in the original Resident Evil 4.
I'm so mad at whoever told me that there were spiders in Resident Evil 4 because I literally never played it.
Yeah, you're missing out on one of the greatest games of all time.
Good news, you have time to play it.
That's what I've heard.
You have time to play the original before the remake comes out.
Oh, I'm going to now. For sure.
Here's what has to stay in. Nice. Appreciate
Marcus
it.
Phoenix.
So here's what has to stay in. Verdugo. The single most terrifying part of that game.
No. The regenerators, 100% were the most terrifying part.
That breathing. I agree.
I call both of those safe. I think the island is the area most likely to get cut. If
I don't think it's going to get cut. I think it might get shortened.
Oh yeah, I can see it being shortened. I can see the castle being shortened a little bit too, because the castle's a little bit of a drag. But
can you imagine, like in the remake, dude, Dr. Salazar?
Oh, this shit's gonna be.
Oh my god!
You know what? Absolutely has to be in there. Absolutely has to be in there. Is the Krauser knife fight? The Krauser knife fight.
The Krauser knife fight is absolutely going to be there. That will absolutely be there.
What a moment of homoerotic tension. Oof. How could you remove that?
For sure, dude. For sure. And here, I also want to see either Separate Ways or Assignment Ada, which I am assuming will probably be some kind of. Like,
which
DLC.
is the one that's a real campaign, and which is the one that's
Separate Ways?
Separate
I was gonna say Assignment Ada is like a relatively quick and dirty throw in.
Eric, what if you combined them into one campaign?
Well, I mean, you wouldn't be getting much out of Assignment Ada, would you? It's pretty. Excuse me.
It's pretty nothing, but Separate Ways is
you're gonna have an Ada campaign. You're gonna have an Ada campaign.
Here's my question: is it going to be shortened like Resident Evil 3 was?
No, I don't think so.
I think so. 3 was kind of a unique circumstance, right? Like they've said that 3 was kind of the result of some unfortunate behind the scenes, right?
Well, from what I heard originally, Resident Evil 2 and 3 were going to be packaged together.
Interesting.
And they were going, and then that didn't go through, and then they ended up adding that whatever multiplayer thing with Resident Evil 3.
Which makes sense for how tight Resident Evil 2 was as well. But like if you play Village, like Village is a lot of game. You know, I play Village, and that doesn't make me feel like a lot is gonna get cut from 4. You might trim some fat, but I think most of it's gonna be there. Like my question is, am I gonna get chased by a weird statue of a tiny Spanish man?
Oh, okay. You know? So here's another question I have: is DC Douglas gonna voice Wesker after his big fucking?
I fucking hope not.
I hope not either.
What happened with the Wesker voice actor?
Oh boy,
he's just a weirdo, and
he's a weird,
a bit of a sex pest apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like.
Well, he also like leaked old Resident Evil 4 stuff and said that it was like
for the remake.
Yeah, for the remake, and then like it was clearly linked to him, and then he went on this like campaign of I didn't do this wasn't me, like clearly trying to save face and save his job because Capcom was not happy. And
Right.
yeah.
Capcom's here's the
So-
other thing is Capcom's replaced every other voice actor, so like why wouldn't DC Douglas be on the chopping
they're not
block?
gonna.
It's
Yeah, they're
just-
gonna replace DC Douglas anyway.
like, I mean, Paul Mercier
Um,
did nothing wrong, and he's still not back as Leon. So
I do not think that Resident Evil 4 remake is going to be shortened. Resident Evil 4 is Resident Evil 4 has a level of reverence that Resident Evil 3 simply does not have. Like, not taking anything away from Free, but when you talk about the best games in the series, it's a toss up for people.
I mean,
between
4
2
is
and
one of the
4.
best games of all time.
Of all
Like,
time.
people who've never played another Resident Evil game have played 4.
Which is why Cam, now that you know there's no spiders.
So now I'm being told, I tweeted about it. Now I'm being told that that there are like, they're not spiders, but there's spider-like
There
enemies.
are
There's like
semi-insectoid like in things that they're almost
But they're not
more,
spiders. They've got like wings and
They're like weird. They're like the usual Resident Evil weird bug people things. I don't know. They're
I'm not super familiar with Resident Evil. I've played
Yeah.
I played 5 up till the spider part. I tried 6, but yeah.
like, just think of like I don't know. Like if you look up if you Google search
grasshopper men.
I was gonna say if you Google search
grasshopper men.
Novistador.
Yeah,
like,
Novistadors.
That's what they're
Okay.
called, and you can
I'll
look
look
at a
in-
picture of them. But
Yeah,
they're just
I'll
they're
look into it.
creepy bug men that turn invisible sometimes. It's
And they're only in like a tiny vertical slice of the
they're in
game.
a
Like,
decent chunk here and there.
I mean,
but
they're underneath the castle. That's pretty much it, right?
well, there's also the whole hive area. Anyway,
But dude, like the Novistadors is another like wow. Like if you're really amping up the horror aspect of it, dude. Like because those motherfuckers turn invisible and sneak up on you, and
I linked
like-
it in the Twitch chat, Cam.
yeah.
there's a Novistador cam right there in the Twitch chat.
See, okay. If I get triggered, fair warning. Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like that, but I could manage. Yeah,
It's,
Yeah,
it's
and
like
yeah, they're
clearly
not
not a
spiders.
spider, yeah.
yeah, it's clearly
Very
not
And
not
spider.
spiders are a
spider-like.
pretty specific phobia in people who have it. I've noticed.
Yeah.
So,
Um, so obviously we're gonna get a demo. Like Capcom loves to drop demos for their Resident Evil games and remakes. So I fully believe we'll get a demo for this before the game actually drops. I was expecting it to drop in November or October. This is a little further out than I thought it would be.
Surprise, just because of COVID.
it's-
Capcom likes releasing their games in the spring. I feel
that's
They
when the
do.
Resident Evil
That's
games have been
true.
hitting, though. Yeah, it's all spring, so
That's 100% true. I am so. Derek made a point during our live stream today that I really want to reiterate. This time, let Leon keep the fucking bomber jacket, please. It looks
I'm
so
goddamn
fucking
saying.
dope. Like he wears that bomber jacket for what, like the first hour of the game, Derek? Not even that, and then
Mhm.
loses it. Like,
and then he's
dude,
just in that like Under Armour
tactical
shirt.
Under Armour shirt. Yeah, like let Leon. Like I've worn shirts like that in various situations, and I would have rather had a bomber jacket because if you're gonna be doing shit like that, you want to look awesome. So
You-
and there's,
Fought a lot of cults. in
I've
Europe?
fought a lot of other things,
Okay, continue.
but I never felt like I looked awesome doing it. And if I'd had a bomber jacket, I would have felt like, man, I look like a badass doing this. So I mean, dude, most of the shit I did, I was wearing a fucking Henley, like like a Nate Drake shirt.
Oh, like I was gonna say, like that fucking nerd from Uncharted.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. So I
I've
would have
played
much
every
rather had a
Uncharted
bomber
game.
jacket. So let Leon keep the bomber jacket. We also saw Bitoris Mendez, the enormous village chief, very briefly in the trailer. We saw some of the Ganados. I wonder if
I loved
Leon.
their original voices in the original game.
I wonder if
So
Leon will.
memorable.
I wonder if Leon. So the voices. Britt just hit on something. I wonder if Leon will grossly overpronounce Los Iluminados in this game like he does in Resident Evil 4. Like that voice actor, every time he said it, took great pains. Like he's talking like, he's like, I just had a run-in with the Los Illuminados, like every fucking time.
It's a very campy game, and I get the feeling a lot of the camp, not all of it, certainly not all of it, but a lot of the camp is going to be toned down heavily.
Can I still suplex people? Can I still suplex Ganados?
I don't think so. Again, look at Resident Evil 7-2-3 Village, right? Tonally, that's what you're going to get, is in that range. So, which to be fair, Village had quite a bit of camp in it, you know?
It did.
Like, there's room for it,
So,
but
Cam,
probably not suplexing dudes.
Cam, obviously you will be streaming your Resident Evil 4 playthrough.
I saw the look of like, I don't want to do that.
Please say yes.
No, I mean, I guess I could. Yeah.
Cam, that would be my favorite fucking stream. Like the only stream that I have enjoyed, like the only stream I would enjoy as much as that was Derek's Final Fantasy IV Pixel Remaster stream. Like I just Derek, Cam, I need you to stream Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
I need you to stream it, even if it's just like the first couple hours. I need you to do it.
Okay. Okay.
Do we have anything else we want to say about Resident Evil 4?
Not immediately. I have a suggestion.
Give me your suggestion.
Let's hit the big three.
You want to hit the big three?
Let's hit the big three so we make sure we get all the discussion we want out of the biggest games that people came away from that event freaking out over, and then we hit up all the other stuff. Right, but like, let's make sure we got breathing room, because otherwise, what's going to happen is the game that several people want to hear about and discuss the most is going to be the thing at the end, and we're going to have to either rush through it or rush through things to get to it.
Okay, let's do it then. So you want to move on to Street Fighter?
Let's go Street Fighter next.
Hell yeah!
Street
Derek,
Fighter
I
6.
know you and Cam are going to be talking some.
Yeah, dude. Street Fighter 6 looks fucking sick. I am so glad they are leaning back into the hip-hop roots of Street Fighter, because Street Fighter and the fighting game community in general were built off the backs of Black and Hispanic youth. Like, that's where fighting game culture comes from. That's where the fighting game community still is heavily rooted in. It is disproportionately POC led. Like, so, and hip-hop culture's always been a huge part of like fighting games. So just lean into it. It's stylish. It's colorful, right? It just looks fucking good, dude.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like Street Fighter 5, you know, because I played a lot of Street Fighter 4, and Street Fighter 4 is great. And you know, Street Fighter 5, like, it was just like this very different change of direction for the franchise. Which at first glance, I was like, you know, I didn't think much of it, but like, it just never really like. I feel like its identity is just kind of bland.
It's kind of lacking identity, right? Like, it feels like Street Fighter 4, but the version we had to pump out to make a new game.
Yeah, I feel like out of every Street Fighter, like, you know, like numerical Street Fighter, I'm not going to talk about all the different versions, but like, they each have some sense of identity, and 5 just really didn't have that. And 6, like, going, you know, when we saw that like teaser trailer, a lot of people already theorized based off just the logo that we're getting into going kind of back to Third Strike. We're going to get a more you know, hip hop influenced Street Fighter, and they're moving that dial to 11. It looks great. I'm very surprised about the open world stuff. Like, I'm curious to see how that's going to go into play with things.
Actual, like, sort of semi-open single player story mode, like something you don't really see in fighting games ever. Yeah. So
I was
go ahead.
I know. I was just gonna say, normally Street Fighter, I'm not the biggest fighting game guy, so I'm like, okay, Street Fighter, cool. But when I saw that story mode, like that Yakuza looking ass fucking story mode, I was like, okay, this fucking flips the script. This changes shit up a little bit for me. Suddenly, I'm fucking interested. Yeah. Like that,
I like that it's a stealth Final Fight sequel too. Like, it's, you know, it's set in Metro City. The Mad Gear Gang is there.
I was watching with Zach, and Zach was like, is this Final Fight? And then, of course, the people came in, and he was like, that's weird because it takes place in Metro City.
Yeah, and like, I'm curious, and obviously we haven't seen much. how much combat is going to be able to take place in that form of game, because you saw him doing like Shoryuken while in that mode to like break environmental parts up. So are you going to be able to fight like minor enemies in sort of a 3D brawler style and then go into like Street Fighter to have like your big fights with major enemies? Like, I don't know.
Right.
If you're willing to play with the formula, right, throw the rules out, who knows what you can do.
Somebody in chat said that Luke looks better without cornrows.
Oh, for sure. First off, white people
Should
do
never
cornrows.
wear cornrows.
Just don't do it.
Don't
do it. Just don't. But I think part of it too is like Luke was a Street Fighter 6 character first, right? Luke was being designed to be the main character Street Fighter 6, and then because development rebooted and was taking longer, Street Fighter 5, there's going to be a huge gap between 5 and 6, and that's when they decided to make the Street Fighter Season 5, which is where Luke got introduced to Street Fighter 5. Luke was never going to be in Street Fighter 5, right? He was just going to be the main character or the big new character of 6. So they kind of had to take him and like make him younger and redesign him and make him fit within Street Fighter 5's system, which is why his hair is also made out of bananas compared to Street Fighter 6, where it looks like a more appropriate fade into, some big poofy. And also, as Sam pointed out, Chun-Li can fucking just crush my head like a watermelon.
Well, and also, a point about Chun-Li, they have dropped Laura Bailey as her voice actress and hired an Asian American woman.
I like
to voice
that.
Chun-Li, which good.
And she voices Suki in in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No shit.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That was Suki. I didn't catch that. I love that.
This means nothing to me, but that's
you need to watch Avatar: Last Airbender, one of the greatest shows ever made.
Oh, absolutely.
Excellent animated series.
What if I just watch the M. Night Shyamalan movie?
No, don't.
John.
It would give me the motivation to get into shape and actually attempt to fight you, John. That is what would happen if you saw the M. Night Shyamalan.
Watch the M. Night Shyamalan movie. Got it.
No. Don't do it.
John, I had a friend who worked in theater.
You watch the movie, 3 years later, I just come to your doorstep, absolutely shredded.
All of a sudden,
he went through a fucking Goku training arc.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Cam vanishes off the Twitter, off the internet.
Exactly. Like I am.
And then he shows up and like ding dong, like I'm like I'm like a 44, 45-year-old man. I open the door like hello, and I see this enormous jacked as shit fucking ripped dude with a Kingdom Hearts shirt on.
Cam's
like,
2 feet taller than he used to be for some reason.
Like that Kingdom Hearts shirt, the Kingdom Hearts shirt is just like in tatters, and he just like punches a hole in my fucking chest and leaves without a word.
But
you would love Avatar: The Last Airbender.
It's one of you would love it. It's one of the greatest shows ever made. Just period. Like animated otherwise.
It starts off a little childish feeling, but it settles into its rhythm and is a surprisingly deep show. I quite enjoyed it. As someone who only watched it as an adult.
Shit ton of representation too.
Here's my question. Especially for Cam and Derek. Excuse me. So it's been confirmed that Street Fighter 6 is in fact multi-platform.
Yes.
Good.
Is it going to be cross-platform for online play?
If it's up to Capcom, yes. If it's not up to Capcom, we'll see.
I think it better be.
It'll be PlayStation's fault if not.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to the tournament scene, they'll be on PlayStation consoles because one, Evo is now owned by Sony.
Yeah.
And I just think that most of the player base will be on PlayStation. And so, take that for what you will. But like, I personally will be getting it on Xbox because that's where I like to play.
Yeah.
I hope that it's cross-play. And the thing is, like, outside of here's the thing: is Monster Hunter Rise cross-play?
No.
But are we sure?
I'm sure.
Because I thought
I'm quite certain it's not crossplay. But like again, the Monster Hunter is a bit of a weird situation because those games have been such staggered releases. Well, even to their content not being in sync. right?
If we can agree,
versions.
if we can agree that any one of like if somebody's not going to play ball in this, it's going to be Sony. Like, let's face it, like it's gonna be Sony.
Yeah, that's
because I got the
because
sense
fighting
that,
games need crossplay at this point. Like,
Well, and-
it's not as niche of a genre as it was at some points in gaming
nowhere
history.
near it. Nowhere
But
near
you
it, yeah.
need the largest possible pool of players, you know, online, not
Yeah.
just for the high level players, but for low level players,
Well,
right? To be able to match with people who aren't going to immediately kick their ass.
Well, and also for the just complete shakeup for the franchise that 6 seems like it's aiming to be.
Yeah.
It needs to hit as like this. It needs to have one unified community. And if it doesn't, I'm not going to say the game is going to crash and burn because it won't. It's Street Fighter, but it will be like that game will attain a fraction of its potential if it doesn't have cross platform online play, which is why, of course, I'm afraid it won't.
Yeah, it's just Street Fighter. The past years just simply isn't the fighting game that it needs to be. And we've gotten incredible fighting games from a bunch. Like, they have a lot of competition. They can't be, just because they're Street Fighter doesn't mean isn't good enough anymore. There has to be, we got Guilty Gear Strive last year. We have Dragon Ball Z Fighters, which is still thriving.
King of Fighters coming back. Like,
King of Fighters is starting to come back. What's the other game that Mortal Kombat 11, right? Like, that was long running and successful. I think Mortal Kombat 12 is gonna be NetherRealm's next game. Just being Street Fighter isn't good enough anymore based off of and then Tekken 7 just still
still going strong.
It's still like the best. If you ask me, like, it is the best fighting game that you can play right now. When it comes to the competitive scene. So I'm just saying that 6 looks like that trailer made a statement in the sense of hey, we are doing things differently, and we're granted, there's a lot of things we don't know. We don't know if there's rollback netcode. We don't know about a bunch of important things, but this is a very good start. And it's cool because this is going to seemingly be the latest game in the timeline as well, because the Street Fighter games are not in order when it comes to the timeline, but with Street Fighter 3 being the end of it. And that is the hip hop, right? That was the hip hop the last time they went to that era. So this might be a continuation of that. Chun-Li and Ryu, they look notably older, so there's a lot going for this entry of Street Fighter. And it's nice because we have a new director of this franchise, Yoshinori Ono, who is a legend, absolute legend. He's no longer in the picture. And now the director, I believe, is who directed Bayonetta 2. So it's going to be flashy. It's going to be able to make a visual statement, but we still need to see more about the actual innards of what Street Fighter 6 is going to be how, and that's, so it's a good first impression, but there is still a lot that could potentially not make this what it is looking like right now.
I mean, if you look at the common threads between Street Fighter 5 and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, right, which are Capcom putting 2 fighting games out back to back in their timeline that were just rough and roughly received. You're talking about games that didn't have a lot of money put into them, and it showed. They didn't have a whole lot of style to them, right? And then they didn't have a whole lot of content, right? And at least with Street Fighter, they kept pumping time and money into it until eventually it was cleaned up a bit and it had a good amount of content to it. And the fighting mechanics under both were great. I still stand by the idea that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was an excellent game to play, but it looked like a cardboard box, right? And there wasn't shit all to do in it with that, it's a tiny main cast. This trailer was Capcom coming and saying, hey, guess what? Capcom's back. We've been back. We got money. We got style. We have aesthetic. Stick around.
RE2 engine.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this then. As somebody who in the past has loved fighting games, I never played Street Fighter 5.
Okay.
But my favorite fighting games are Street Fighter 3, Third Strike, Darkstalkers 2, and Rival Schools. Those are my.
I mean, you
three.
know this is gonna be your shit. Capcom fighting games have a style.
Well,
right?
Well, so let me ask you this: as somebody who's been out of Street Fighter for a while now, what are the most egregious mistakes that Street Fighter V made that you don't want to see repeated here?
I think that they introduced some mechanics in that game that I think, while cool at first when people like were first playing with them, were cool, but a lot of the community like noticed that it kind of hindered the game compared to previous entries. Like the not particularly like it was a game that relied too heavily, I believe, like on stun
Yeah.
locking and things like that, and that's just like not what people want in a fighting game, because it's just easier to manipulate and things like that. And I think, and again, like I think a lot of it we has already kind of been cleared by this trailer, right? Is just kind of the sense of identity. The other things that I had an issue with five, like we already kind of discussed, like rollback netcode. Like, you know, there was someone a while ago who like released a mod that would like fixed all that, and Capcom like shut it down. They knew that it was an issue, but they still like didn't do anything about it. And I don't know why. You know, I'm not a game developer. Like it might have been just like how the game was made, but you know, that is for all fighting games like moving forward, and have been for years now. Like if your game doesn't have rollback netcode, that's already like a pretty bad look. You know, it took like a lot of online not protesting, but like, you know, yelling out to Atlas to implement rollback netcode on the Ultimax version of Persona 4 Arena. And that's only for the PS4 version and the PC version. Like, you know, it wasn't even for like every available version, you know. And so it's just like there's so many things that go into it that, you know, is unfortunate. But I think that those are like kind of the big things, just like kind of going to a more traditional Street Fighter mechanics, or like even Third Strike, just, you know, kind of implementing what Third Strike is and the kind of an evolution of that, and then putting in rollback netcode. And I think it'll come out as a great game.
I think also that like one of the things that Street Fighter V, I wouldn't even necessarily call it necessarily a problem, but V skills and V triggers were kind of an iffy mechanic, because I like, you know, on paper, the idea that you're going to have these unique mechanics behind every character, something that only they do, sounds really cool. But then for most characters, they just kind of functioned like special moves, like normal run-of-the-mill special moves that ran on this weird shared meter that was only for that move that every character had. And it ended up being kind of confusing, I think, for a lot of people getting into Street Fighter V. Like, well, then what's the point of these systems? But when you look at that last season of Street Fighter V, that season 5 of DLC characters, which is where Capcom started to do it all internally, right? Because everything up to then had been dimps, and then Capcom took over development for season 5. And every one of those characters, you know, Dan, Rose, Akira, like they have interesting mechanical quirks to them that only they can do, right? If you're good with Dan, who's usually the Street Fighter joke character, like you can use his taunts to cancel out of moves and into other moves and do all kinds of weird, crazy freeform shit. You know, Rose has this cool tarot card mechanic, like, you know, and you need to have, I think that a fighting game lives and dies on having characters with cool kits, cool toolkits that read easily into what is this character meant to do. And I think that in the era of, I mean, let me put it this way. In the post-Overwatch era, like it's been more clear than ever how much a clearly designed and thought out character kit matters in whether it's a hero shooter or a MOBA or a fighting game, right? And Capcom has shown that when they got their hands on Street Fighter V's characters, when they started doing it internally, they put out the best content in the game. So, yeah, I have high hopes for 6.
Well, and like, granted, we haven't seen much of it yet. Like, like we got this trailer today. And we didn't see as much of the single player story mode as I would have liked.
Seen Chun-Li's thighs and Ryu's toesies.
We did. Honestly, that's the most.
No Ryu cock this time though. No Ryu cock, unfortunately.
They nerfed it.
No Ryu cock at all. I didn't know.
No,
I didn't see Ryu cock. I don't know.
I didn't see it.
No bulge at all, huh? Wow.
No, I don't think so.
That's disappointing.
Oh, Britt, did you miss Ryu cock?
Oh, you're muted.
Britt, you are muted.
I very specifically tuned in when that was said. So
Yeah.
So it's coming out in what did they say? March of next.
Just summer.
2023.
2023. Okay. God, 2023 is looking fucking stacked.
Gonna be brutal.
But yeah, no, I thought visually it looked cool. And what's interesting is I definitely got the sense from that very modernized logo, that Street Fighter 6 logo, which is very different from anything we've seen.
I really like it. I really like it.
Well, like I feel like there's meaning behind that, right? Like they're taking a giant leap forward with the franchise. They're kind of revamping it, revitalizing it, bringing it into a more modern era.
Well, the first version of the logo in the first reveal was kind of generic, but this redesigned logo they used in this trailer was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, they used the Roman numeral 6 as a 6 too. It's really cool.
Yeah, like it's not really something that we've traditionally seen from Street Fighter in the past. I thought this was the most excited I've been, or the most interested I've been in Street Fighter in some time.
The game looks great, and I'm just looking forward to the internet's reaction to Chun-Li over the next couple of days. And every other time a returning Street Fighter character gets brought back, but especially, I mean, people are going to lose their goddamn mind at Chun-Li. So, well,
of course, like, the classics are going to get brought back, like Zangief and Ken and, like all those guys will come back. Hopefully they don't bring Birdie or Skullomania back, because I really hated
You don't
Birdie
like Skullomania? Man, eat shit.
But who was the guy from Street Fighter Alpha 3 with the bat? Who was that? Cracker Jack? Was that his name?
There's a guy with the
guy with the bat.
Not a bat, it's a
baseball bat, right?
There's Rolento who had what is that?
He has a staff. He has a staff.
No, there's a guy with a bat.
Like a Tonka.
There's a guy who swings a bat at you.
I do not remember a guy with a bat in 3.
Or what? Which one was the 3?
No, hang on. 3.
No, 3 Alpha.
Alpha 3. Alpha's different. Alpha's a different series.
3. Yeah,
I don't remember a dude with a bat.
His name was
I'll settle this. Also, Street Fighter guy.
Jared's saying Eagle.
I'm looking it up right now.
I want to say it's Cracker Jack. The guy's name was Cracker Jack.
That's not a Street Fighter character.
No, there is a Street Fighter named Cracker Jack.
Oh, yes.
I do not remember this.
He doesn't have a bat, but he does not have a bat.
Shoma? I see the name.
Okay, fine. He might not have a bat, but I remember fucking Cracker Jack. He's got that hat, right, Britt? He's got a hat.
Yes, he does have a hat.
Oh, that's from Street Fighter EX. That's from Street Fighter EX. Okay,
so it was Street Fighter EX.
I don't remember EX very much.
This character is essentially John. His quote in the top of the thing is, "Nobody can stop my fists."
Well, that's true. I mean, that's true. Like, he should be wearing a beanie, but yes,
the only person from EX I remember is Skullomania. So
I guess I could absolutely be Cracker Jack. I hate myself. So what else do we have to say? Excuse me, about Street Fighter 6. Does anybody want to get that last word in?
I think we covered all the
What
bases.
do I have to do to get you to change your display name on Twitter to Cracker John?
Please. He's doing it right now.
He's actually thinking about it too.
I'm not going to do that, Derek. No.
If I bully him enough.
What about Game Jack instead
of Game Dad? I'll tell you what.
Gamer Jack.
Derek,
Gamer Jack.
Derek, if you run a poll, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
If somebody here runs a poll and it gets 90% of the vote or higher,
What
I
about
will change my Twitter name to Cracker John.
what about John like quotations Cracker Jack Phipps?
Is that what you guys want, or do you want Cracker John? You got to make up your
No,
mind.
I don't know. John quotation marks Cracker Jack.
What about
Phipps
Cracker
is
Jack?
good.
Cracker Jack.
Cracker Jacked, I can also work
Cracker
with.
Jacked. That's good. That's good.
Okay, if
See-
somebody here and you guys figure out who it is, if you guys run a poll and it gets and yes gets 90% of the vote or over, I will change my Twitter name to John Cracker Jacked Phipps on Twitter.
Okay. But not right now, obviously. We got a podcast to do.
Right, for sure. But I'm saying it now. You guys decide amongst yourselves who's going to run the poll, and give it a week.
Anyway, if I don't get Sean in Street Fighter 6, I'm gonna burn somebody's house down.
No, you are not allowed. No, you are not allowed to create multiple accounts to vote yes. No, you are not allowed to do this, chat. That's
They're
not
just
gonna
gonna
happen.
leave me be, huh?
I'm a fan of
I
C
take it as
Viper. I don't know a whole
I'd
lot
like
about.
to see Viper back. Viper,
Yeah.
I'm sad she missed out on 5. Great character, lots of fun.
She is like I'm
I
not.
want-
I'm not a big fighting game person because
Was-
I don't have the coordination and my hands are small.
Her design, though,
Her design is really good.
yeah.
I actually
Really
named her in
good.
Marvel
Viper.
3. So
So, guys,
go
ahead,
I was gonna
Derek.
say,
No, go
I just hope we get Laura back in Street Fighter 6 because she would nail the hip hop vibe, and
Yeah.
also like
I want
like
Sean and Laura both. Like, just yeah, they need to be there.
okay, guys, there's another game that got re-revealed today that I feel
That
like
Walking Dead game,
we
yeah.
just got to talk about. And no, it's not the fucking Walking Dead game.
Horizon Call of the Mountain.
No, not that one either. What we got to talk about is thank you, Yoshi P. As soon as Yoshi P came on screen, I knew what was happening.
Yep.
And we got to talk about Final Fantasy 16. Because the reactions from Derek and myself, especially,
Fuck
were
me right up.
visceral.
Fuck me right up.
And
Mm.
So
I was gonna say,
good.
fuck me running.
fuck
Yeah.
me running too with Final Fantasy 16. You can fuck me running
Also
Final Fantasy
accurate.
16. Right, absolutely. Like right off the bat, I looked at I put this trailer on my PC. I put it on my screen and I put the old 2020 trailer right next to it. And the jump in visual fidelity is fucking wild.
100%.
In the first trailer, we were like, everyone was like, "Yo, this looks so good," and now it's just
like
oh, wow.
holy shit. Like if you put and it's most stark if you put Shiva, like 2022 Shiva and 2020 Shiva next to each other, oh my god.
I need to look up a comparison because I haven't seen that.
Dude, it's wild. It is nuts. And it's all over Twitter.
Oh
too.
shit! Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now.
Dude, for real, right? Like
Yeah.
it's nuts. So there's so much to unpack here. So immediately, the story is very clearly heavily revolving around the icons, which are the summons. Your classic summons. And I think they were it was Shiva, Titan, Ifrit, Bahamut, Odin, and Garuda. And Rama,
And
right?
Rama, yeah.
Yeah. So 7 of them. Now, I got the impression that each one of these icons is tied to a specific
character.
to their dominant. And by the way, did
How
anybody
dare
else
you.
notice at the end of the trailer when it showed the names for the summons, that choir was chanting the names of the summons?
Yes, that was
Yes.
so fucking cool.
That was
so
corny as
so
shit.
Fucking cool.
That was
know,
corny,
got
but I respect it.
chills. Oh, I was like, yes.
I loved it.
Anyway,
I loved it.
chocolate milk just got fucking thrown under my door like hockey pucks. So
How big is your fucking door frame?
it's not.
Like,
That's the scary thing.
Yeah, it's weird.
It doesn't.
So is this game going to kind of split from past Final Fantasies and have a party of one? Is Clive the only playable character here?
no.
That's kind of what it's looking like.
No.
That's what it feels like, Britt.
No.
Which I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with that. But if you look at the combat, if you look, so like I slowed down the trailer and I looked at the combat.
This time it was Mexican hot chocolate.
It looks like you are switching between summons in the middle of combat. Like all of a sudden it's Odin, and then all
You
of
have
a
to
sudden
beat
it's
them up to
Garuda.
take their summon powers.
And, but like you are switching between between like these playable summons on the fly. So I'm wondering if these dominants, as they're called, which I still can't stop chuckling at that name. If these dominants, or the DOMs for short, as some people like to say in the world of Final Fantasy, if the DOMs are they playable, or are they just passing on their iconic powers to Clive? I don't really think we have an answer to that yet. What is the name of my dominant? Vicky. But look, man, I got to be real, okay? But I could not have been happier with what we saw today. And we've actually got the names of 2 of the DOMs. I'm never going to get tired of saying that. We've actually got names and character profiles for 2 of the DOMs, which are the blonde woman who is the dominant for Garuda. She is Benedicta Harmon. And then this big himbo-looking motherfucker who looks like me, honestly. Like,
don't say that, because the bald guy does look like he would call me the F slur in a random
but
bar.
he looks like me, Hugo Kupka.
John, I hate to say
like
it,
me.
you look like you would call me the F slur in a random bar in Kentucky.
I would never do
you
that,
would
Derek,
never.
you know
You
that.
would never, because you drink your respect minorities juice. But
absolutely. So Hugo. Now this is directly from the PlayStation blog. Permanent economic advisor Hugo Kupka's meteoric rise.
He can't be an economic advisor.
He's an economic advisor.
The only economics he knows about are the economics of gains. Like, that's
I mean, that's what, you know, so that's what it says.
How he can steal from the poor.
His meteoric rise to prominence was sudden, if not unexpected. Once a nameless foot soldier in the Republican Army, oh no, his awakening as dominant of the Icon Titan thrust him to the forefront of Dalmatian
Oh my God,
politics.
these words! Come on!
It was here he used his newfound position as the most powerful man in the Republic to exert influence over both the nation's armies and its policymaking, amassing a personal fortune in the process. Yet while it is said that a man who has everything wants for nothing, Benedicta Harmon will teach him money and power far from all the world has to offer. And as for Benedicta, having emerged from the storm of youth, cold-hearted and ruthless, Benedicta Harmon, dominant of the Icon Garuda, Warden of the Wind, turned her talent for swordplay and subterfuge into a command of Waloed, I don't know how to pronounce that, Waloed's elite intelligencers. It is on a mission to find the elusive second icon of fire that she crosses paths with a like-minded Clive and is forced to face her past. So clearly, there's like a party here. Like they're forming a traditional Final Fantasy party. Is it a
party, or are these like, again, people you're gonna have to beat up to take their summons from them? So you can switch between them.
So if you look at these steals, you're clearly fighting Hugo in a boss fight.
Right. Which doesn't necessarily mean he wouldn't be a party member later, because
exactly right. No, for sure. You know, and I'm looking at other screen caps now. Oh, there's a stagger bar. Interesting. So for example, I'm looking, and this is what's interesting. I'm looking at a screen cap now, and it looks like Clive is using the ability. There's an icon for Shiva. Not like the icon is in the summon, but an actual in-game icon for Shiva, and he's using the Diamond Dust attack, which is her traditional summon attack. So I don't think we're playing as. I think Clive is the only actual playable character, which I'm fine with. I'm totally fine with that. I love it when games kind of step outside of their comfort zone and try something new. What I'm wondering is, are these individuals going to be traveling on the road with you, or there's still so much we don't know.
Which is weird. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Brad.
I was just gonna say that I remember we had our discussion. We had our separate discussion analyzing the trailer, and when we first watched it, like, we were all convinced it was gonna be a group game because you're sitting around the fire with all of your group buddies. And now it's crazy. Now it's like, I think we're gonna be playing by ourselves, and I'm like, here's what I think is gonna happen. I think the Clyde is going to be the main character, but I think you're going to swap to different scenarios when you play as the other characters. If that makes sense.
That's possible, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely possible.
Yeah, hopefully not like Octopath Traveler. Well, like
no.
you can, but like not where the party members are actually relevant to the story. But
yeah, it's not going to be like that.
Yeah. But I think that, I mean, like, we've already seen this kind of idea if Clive is the like only playable character, kind of in 15, right? Like, there was a party, but you only played as Noctis. You know, so it's not like until later where they allowed you to play as whoever you want. But yeah, so I don't really mind as long as the story is like,
yeah,
as long as the story is there, and like but who knows? Just like from what we've just seen right now, like, it could be, it couldn't be. I really don't care. I think the most interesting thing is like just, you know, these characters are the avatars of these gods, and I just kind of want to know like the politics behind that, if that makes sense. Kind of like the dichotomy between these characters, because I think Clive is supposed to be the avatar of Ifrit. So I'm just based off the trailer. So yeah, I'm just kind of
Phoenix.
Phoenix is, I think, one of the younger like
Joshua
brothers or something like that.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Joshua. Yeah,
because they end with Ifrit in the trailer, and then it shows Clive. So I assume Ifrit is Clive, or Clive is Ifrit.
Well, no, I thought. Oh no, I'm sorry. Joshua's Phoenix. I'm sorry.
Joshua's Phoenix. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's more like, this seems like more of like a fantasy. Like, this game kind of gave me, from the quieter moments in the trailer, Game of Thrones vibe. So I'm just like, I want to know the politics of all this bullshit more than anything, if that makes sense. Like, I want to know about this world. I want to know the politics. Like, you know, it's kind of like, for me, when I like watch Naruto, right? Like, I love the politics between like all the villages and all the characters more than like the actual action.
Kind of building up the actual like world that these people live in and the way that it works. Yeah,
exactly. So that's like what I hope for a lot in 16, which I think is very different from what Final Fantasy has done before. It's going to be a much more grounded fantasy type tale. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The thing I want to discuss, and we can go to this later if there's other thoughts right now on the trailer itself, but knowing that this is coming out summer of next year, not even like early next year, summer of next year, I am very worried about Square's other future projects and when those are coming out. Because,
you mean like Forspoken?
Like Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2.
Oh,
7 Remake Part 2 will be playing in like 7 years.
Yeah, no,
but here's the thing. Okay, so you know, grain of salt, from what I've heard, the remake project is going to consist of 4 games. And if that comes true, you know, and I think that we're going to get, and I said this on the last time I was on the podcast, I think we're going to get Kingdom Hearts 4 before we get Remake Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So with those two things in mind, we're probably not going to get, like, earliest we'll get Part 2 is 2025. That's 5 years between Part 1 and Part 2.
This is a big part of why I was scared of the Final Fantasy VII Remake from the beginning, split into parts.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, dude, Part 1 taken, and everyone was like, no, you don't get it. Part 2 is going to be out like that after, because they'll have made the engine and made some of the most important content. And I was like, that's not at all what's going to fucking happen. And once again, when did FF7 Remake Part 1 hit?
2020.
Spring
2020.
So it's been
Spring
2
2020.
years already, and the game hasn't even been
announced.
Nothing. Yeah, like...
Well, I don't want to get I don't want to get too far
anyway,
off topic.
Yeah, you're right.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I know, so I'm just saying
but
that, like,
you're right. I'm kind of worried about some of their output.
Yeah, with this release, I'm just like worried. Like, are we not going to get this remake finished until like 2035?
No,
like, that's just ridiculous.
I get the sense, like, I think there are two completely different teams working on this.
They are. I mean, you know what?
Are.
They've got like 4 different CBU teams.
But I think that Square Enix has proven in the past years, and like this year as well, that like they seem to only want to release one big AAA project a year. You know, like, I mean, granted, Stranger of Paradise, you know, you could consider that being a second with Forspoken, but like that, and we got Dragon Quest 12 too. Like, I just don't know like really what Square's thinking when it comes to
Is it that
what
they
they're
don't
aiming
want to
for, I
release
guess.
more than one per year, or just that they haven't been able to get development streamlined enough to get more than one a year out?
That might
You
that might
know?
be the case. That might be the case. Last year we got Intergrade and did we get anything else outside of that? Like, I don't know. I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to go too long on it.
Yeah.
I just think like this being the release date of 2023. I'm just worried about the future with other projects. So hopefully,
For sure,
hopefully
for
I'm
sure.
wrong.
So one thing that hasn't been talked about a lot, and it surprises me, are what look to me like summon battles. Between,
Yeah.
for example, like Ifrit, like I'm looking at some screen caps here, between Ifrit and Garuda. Or and there was another one.
Garuda looks so fucking good. I'm so stoked for her.
Murder
Ifrit
me.
versus Bahamut. So obviously Clive is going to be like, the dominant for Ifrit. I think that's clear. These summon battles look super cinematic. Like holy shit. And this is something that I was not expecting at all. And it reminds me a little bit of the Eidolon system in Final Fantasy 13, but taken to like a huge extreme. Where because and Cam knows what I'm talking about. If you never played Final Fantasy 13, the summon system in that game worked to where when you hit like a Gestalt mode, or when you filled your meter, I can't remember exactly, but what they called it, but you summon your Eidolon. And then when you go into Gestalt mode, that Eidolon changes forms and you actually control it, and you're issuing attack commands and stuff like that. This seems to me similar to that, but on a much larger scale.
Well, they've been heading this way in a while, because like, remember the first time you booted up FF10 and did a summon in FF10, and it was a thing that you actually controlled for the fight while it was out, instead of just being an attack animation? Like, it seems like they really do understand that in a lot of ways the summons are almost one of the core parts of Final Fantasy at this point. And like, so many games are defined by how those summon characters are integrated into the game, and they're looking for ways to make them the power of them more and more directly controlled by the player, rather than just a thing where you make a cool animation happen. So yeah.
Well, and something else I noticed was that the game itself has a it's very clearly a Final Fantasy game, but also has a very Western RPG flavor to it. In a lot of the art styles and a lot of the landscapes. Britt, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm getting more of a 12 vibe from it, just like
kind of
a little bit.
It's
I can see that.
Very grounded Western fantasy in a lot of aesthetic, and it seems like it's going to be a very political story in an old like political fantasy kind of way, which we haven't really seen since 12.
Looking at some of these screen caps though, and some of the artwork, there's definitely a high fantasy element here. Like there's, I don't think it's going to be as like. Take Final Fantasy 15, for example, like two completely different settings. But the reason I bring it up is because Final Fantasy 15, from a fantastical standpoint, was a very grounded for a Final Fantasy game. From an aesthetic standpoint, I don't think you're going to see that here. Obviously this is a game very set in, a medieval stage. And I do think that the story is going to skew very political, based on what we've seen. But I don't think they're not going to abandon that fantastical Final Fantasy element, just based on some of the artwork I've seen and looking at some of the screen caps I'm seeing. But what here jumped out to us the most, and this is for the whole group, like, I've watched this trailer quite a bit, and honestly,
can I say that time that Garuda winked at the camera? Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah,
Derek, please.
Can I out myself?
Please. Derek, are you learning more about yourself?
I know everything about myself at this point. No, like joking aside, it looks like a fucking blast to play.
It looks so
right as an action game, and I mean, look, I don't bring this up to taunt you, John, because I know you genuinely love the game and it's important to you, but Final Fantasy 15 was a huge letdown for me in terms of the combat, because in all the trailers,
no, you're allowed to have an opinion.
Yeah, in all the trailers, it looked. I like the game, but like all the trailers made that combat look like it was gonna be this cool character action game, and then you played it, and it's really a very messy combat system that really doesn't have a lot of actions link up to animations very well. And then 7 Remake did a much better job of making something feel like an action game that you had direct control over. But seeing that the combat designer for this game is also somebody who worked on like Dragon's Dogma, Monster Hunter, Devil May Cry, it's like, oh, we're just gonna do this. We're gonna make a genuinely great action game. And I need that. You gotta have engaging combat mechanics in a game like this. Otherwise, I'm gonna get, I can only go so far if you don't give me something to do. I don't know.
You can only go so far with bros in a car.
Look, I love the bros in a car. I do.
I
Bros
feel
in a car
ya,
is the best
man.
part.
I feel you.
Yeah.
For me, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
I'm just bullshitting. You go.
No, yeah, for me it's just like I agree. Like I think the combat is like obviously I want to know more about the politics in the world. Like that's definitely the thing like I want to know most. But like out of the trailer in itself, like I guess I mean part of it is just like kind of learning about this dispute between these icons and the avatars and all that stuff. But like yeah, with the combat, the combat was designed by the dude who did the combat for Devil May Cry 5, and
Right.
it shows. And I like how I think the thing that Final Fantasy needs, and I think this is something that Square Enix knows, is that it needs to modernize itself. It needs to like I know that me and John love turn-based combat and like a lot, but I think Final Fantasy is like officially moved itself away from that kind of.
I kind of miss the old menus though sometimes.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
I mean, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah, no, yeah, we're fine with it. But I'm not saying that like it. I'm not saying that particularly as a negative. It's just kind of like they're moving to be more modern and real time and become, because Final Fantasy is one of the few lucky JRPG franchises that like will sell generally will sell much better than like most other JRPGs because of its name. But like they still want to stay like they have to continue to modernize themselves to stay that way. And I think that this kind of combat is what will get people that aren't super into Final Fantasy or not familiar with Final Fantasy to give it a shot. You know what I mean? Like I know that like Khalif said that he's gonna give it a shot. I know like Andy over at Kind of Funny, like he doesn't like turn-based combat in games, but like he's interested in Final Fantasy 16 because it is the more hack and slash like action-based gameplay. And so like for me, that's I'm totally okay with that, and I like how this gameplay looks so far. Like I like how it's implementing things that like the stagger bar, and the the ATB. Like you saw like it wasn't like the exact same, but you saw like the kind of the fragments of the what we know as the ATB bar under the health, and I'm like curious to see like how that comes into play. And then there's also the I saw in the gameplay there's like different like I don't know if it's characters or weapons or what that you can cycle through. Like there's a lot that is teased in here that we don't still know, and that's exciting.
I love it when Final Fantasy evolves the formula, which is one of the reasons that I was, for example, so high on Final Fantasy 13. Because not only being an exemplary Final Fantasy game, Cam is wise. Cam is a legend in our community. He knows this.
You can't steal that line from V, man. That's not.
I'm going to steal it.
Okay.
I'm stealing it.
That's Virender's line, and you got to leave that to him.
That he's a legend. That's what he is. But Final Fantasy 13 took a step outside of its comfort zone and gave us what, in my opinion, is still the best battle system in the entire franchise, which is the Paradigm system. And I've noticed that every Final Fantasy game since 9 or since 10 really has evolved the battle system formula into something new, and that's what I like to see. Like I love active time battle. If I want that, I'll go back and I'll play Final Fantasy 1 through 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. But I love the fact that Final Fantasy is continuing to experiment with itself and continuing to push, kind of break the mold and push boundaries in what it does with its battle system. And this, to me, looks like just one more evolution. And I couldn't be happier with the way that things appear to be panning out. The only thing that I want is honestly a demo. Square, drop a. I was holding out hope that they'd say, and the demo is available now.
For as much battle and gameplay as they showed, I was thinking they were actually going to do that. Just
me too.
I wish that would have been amazing.
Me too. I do think we'll get a demo.
There might not have been a podcast tonight if they did.
No, there might not have. Like I would have just been playing that shit over and over and over. And I know Derek would have. I might have just streamed the fucking demo, to be honest with you. But I do think we'll get a demo for this at some point. I was so nervous about 60 being re-revealed because this is one of those games, guys, that
Trust in Yoshi P.
I just fucking need it to be good. I need it to be good, but I do trust in Yoshi P. He's a brilliant designer. He knows what he's doing. And speaking of Yoshi P, I pulled this up just to read it. Let me. Yeah. So he released. So this is what he said right before he revealed the trailer. And this is just the kind of fucking guy he is. He said, and though the world finds itself in turmoil, we'll continue to focus on what we do best, making games. For if, through entertainment, we can provide people with something they can truly enjoy, maybe we can bring a little happiness to these hard times. Fucking love you, Yoshi P. Bless you. Like, Yoshi P is so fucking... We as a society do not deserve Yoshi P.
He's so wonderful.
He's fucking great.
Seems like a stand-up guy.
He
I
is
like that.
Fucking outstanding. He really is, yeah. Derek. He really is. And I just like there's so much I want to say about Final Fantasy 16 right now. And I know that if I do, I will hijack the last 18 minutes that we have here. So because I could fill up another fucking 2 hours with talking about what I saw in the trailer and how it made me feel but just, I guess, to sum it up, watching that trailer and just reminded me how much I fucking love this franchise. And this entire trailer just summed up how much I love video games, period. Like this trailer was video games, the trailer to me. It had everything I love. It made me feel, it made me feel everything good about this medium of ours that can be kind of ugly and nasty sometimes. That can be kind of like, there's a lot of rot in the industry, to be sure, but when I see trailers like this, like just for a moment, I'm reminded that at the heart of it, there's something that is truly pure and bright and meant to bring happiness to people, not drag them down. And that's what I love about Final Fantasy, and that's what I love about just discussions like this. It reminds me that there's still some good left in this industry that can bring out the best of us and put a smile on our faces and kind of just let us forget that the rest of the world just isn't kind of in flames right now. That's really the power of this medium. And sorry if that's a little heavy-handed. I know it's weird to say that about a video game trailer, but that's what it does for me.
I think for me it's Yoshi P, because he is just genuinely a good dude who's passionate about his projects and the people he works with. And, we're always talking about the industry needing a change and all of that kind of stuff. And it genuinely seems like he is he's not to idolize anybody that's in a position of power, but it's finally nice to just see someone who just
doesn't suck.
Yeah. It just genuinely seems like a good person, like when Endwalker got delayed, he felt so fucking bad because people had taken time off work and everything. And
it's nice to see real ass people.
Yeah.
Compensated. for the how congested everything was when the expansion dropped, and it's just he just genuinely cares about not only his projects but the people who consume his the
Well, he
projects that
clearly
he's involved
loves
in.
what he does, right?
Yeah.
Like he loves what he does, and he loves the way that he is able, and he loves the reactions that he gets from the people who play his games. And so that is a man who does it for pure love of what he does. Because game dev, I know a few people in game dev. We all do. It ain't easy, and it can be thankless and fucking shitty at times. And so it takes people like Yoshi P are the people who keep the industry going. To be honest with you.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't want to idolize anybody in a position of power, especially when it comes to this industry.
Right, because you're gonna find out he enjoys black licorice or something.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%.
I refuse to believe that about Yoshi P. Yoshi P is pure. Now that I've said that, we're gonna find out something terrible. But does anybody want to say anything about Final Fantasy? Anything else about Final Fantasy 16? Cam, Derek, Britt.
The music.
I want to.
Oh, the music. Fuck.
Game good.
Oh my god, the music. Shit, those that variation on the classic Final Fantasy theme and the prelude, just
He's
oh
so
my god.
good at doing that, and I'm just when I the music is the one thing that stuck in my mind the most out of everything. Is just
game looked good as hell.
Game.
Oh god, the whole fucking. Go ahead, Cam, please.
I just want a sweet ass collector's edition.
Me too.
Oh my
man.
god, yes, please. I want a Clive statue. Give me a Clive statue so I can display that shit in my fucking.
I'm such a
on my wall
bitch for
over here.
steel books.
Yep.
I can't even.
Me too.
Derek, is there anything you want to see out of Final Fantasy? Any one thing? If you could pick one thing, you're like, I do this shit. I hope you do this. What is it, Derek?
I want them to surprise me. That's it.
You want to be surprised?
Right? The best Final Fantasy games have done shit that I could never have called or expected from them.
Right.
At the time when they came out.
Right. I want to be surprised. I don't want to go in with any expectations. I just want to.
Yeah. The best Final Fantasy games have done things I would never have thought to ask for. So, Yoshi P, do your fucking thing.
Right.
Also, I would say that before launch, I want one more trailer, and I don't want anything else. Hell, I don't want anything else. I could just be like, all right, give it to me. But obviously, there's gonna be at least a launch trailer or whatever. But yeah, just give me the game. I don't need to see any more.
Yeah. Let me find some of this stuff. I almost worry that I might have seen too much in this trailer. But I mean, I can't tell because I don't know how much is in it. But I like being in that area of not knowing and not not feeling like I've definitely seen what there is to see. So
I'm to the point now where I don't watch trailers for things. When the first Thor: Love and Thunder trailer dropped, everybody was freaking out, and I was
that was a good trailer.
I was like, I don't want to watch it. And then I saw Doctor Strange, and it was in there, so I was like, okay, that looks good. And then the second one came out, and I was like, well, I've already seen the first, and I want to know a little bit more because the second trailers usually gives more story, and I was like, okay, this looks good.
A little more bicep in there.
Well,
a little more Chris Hemsworth's ass.
Unfortunately, Chris Pratt was in the trailer. Though.
That's true, but you don't see his ass.
So, Derek, I've actually got something here that is relevant to your interests.
Yeah.
Alex Donaldson on Twitter in classic fashion. Have you seen this?
Easby posted it in chat earlier.
Okay. I didn't see that earlier. So
I was gonna say, well, we only have a little bit of time left. What if each of us brought up one more game from the State of Play?
Okay,
real quick to shout out what we thought was something super interesting.
Sure.
We'll start with Cam. Cam, why don't you hit us with the something else from the State of Play? One game that got your attention.
I got to talk about the Eternights game.
Eternights, yes.
Eternights, yeah. Eternights, I don't know.
I love that game.
It's new, John.
That game, they were showing that off, and I remember I was like, yes, I'm loving this. This is weird. It's anime bullshit. And me and Justin
I thought of you.
Me and
Justin immediately when I saw that trailer.
Literally said, now all this game needs is to have some bullshit name that means nothing, and then it was Eternites, and I was like, yes.
No, Derek, it's a dating sim.
It's a dating sim character action game with a dedicated hand holding button.
So I have to say this real quick. So like at the end of the trailer, like I'm not really big on like anime like super action games like that.
Yeah.
And at the end, it was like, it brought up the art and everything, and I was like, no. And Zach was like, oh, not a Britney game, and I was like, no. And then it listed everything it was, and I was like, dating sim. I was like, I'm back in, boys. You reeled me back.
Yeah, no, the internet's already taken over the meme, which I knew was going to happen. That like press R2 to hold hands is
that's
now
why it was in the trailer for sure.
Is the new press F to pay respects. Yeah, no, it's just like, okay, like this.
How's
looks
a
like
game not rated M with such lewd activity?
It's like, yeah, it just has this some fun anime action and like like dating sim. I'm like, okay, sure, like that sounds interesting. I just like weird shit, and that looks weird, and but it still looks like a fun, engaging game, which is like what I look for. So yeah, Eternites.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, so none of the other games really are my thing. Although I respect the fact that they look really well made, especially Stray and Seasons. They're not my thing. So what I'll say is the other moment that stood out for me was the moment where we learned that there's apparently fucking in Final Fantasy 16.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's like a scene where like two of them are naked.
Naked in bed. Yeah,
all right, I need to rewatch the trailer.
Like dude's arm wrapped around the girl's back.
Wait,
yeah, they're very clearly fucking.
But like, it's not meant to be like an erotic looking moment. It's
but
just like to be.
It's like a post-sex like sit on side of bed scene.
I like grown up like nonsense as much as I can be like the horny like agender disaster that I am. Like,
can we just
I love a good mature realization of sex as like just a thing that's part of adult life and isn't always, I don't know.
Derek, can we just appreciate
Wholesome.
the fact that the moment I said the second I said two people are fucking in Final Fantasy 16, Brittany's like, all right, I need to analyze the trailer.
Hell yeah.
She's like, let me go back over and really, really comb through this.
Yeah. Go over with my little magnifying glass.
Derek, what about you?
I think
gotta be Stray for you, right? Yeah.
Stray really got my attention. As somebody, I thought the original reveal looked cute, but I didn't have like strong feelings on it. But
visually, it looks a lot better than I was expecting.
There was a trailer in between the reveal and this trailer, and it basically
I missed that.
It made it look like Uncharted, but you're a cat. It was really cool.
I completely missed that trailer then. All I saw was the reveal thing. But yeah, this looks really, really fun, really interesting, very packed full of personality and charm. And, I imagine it's probably not a super long experience.
Correct me if isn't Stray out on something else right now?
No, it's a PS5 exclusive.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. That's cool.
It comes out July 19th.
I'm excited.
But yeah, Stray is definitely it. I mean, look, the hard thing is that I know I'm somebody who's more biased towards some of the big releases than indie titles. I know that's how I am. I know I'm going to be biased towards weird RPG bullshit over, indie platformers and so on. But Stray just looks lovely, and I just want it. All 3 or 4 hours of whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it.
And Britt, what about you?
Callisto looks really fucking cool.
Oh shit! Fuck! I'm
Yeah.
like, how the god damn it! Yes, Callisto. Yes, I fucking forgot about it.
Like, it was funny because I went and texted my group chat and I was like, what in the Dead Space is this? And apparently the people who are working on
literally the old Dead Space folks,
are working on this game. And it looks really fucking cool. Like, I never played Dead Space. I love a good horror game, and this definitely looked spooky.
So you're gonna have this and the Dead Space remake to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna be so into Dead Space.
Yeah,
The
Yeah.
first game is so good.
You're missing out on Dead Space.
Well, she's not because they're remaking it. That's the cool thing.
but you could go back and play.
Just play the remake. It looks
I
incredible.
honestly- So
Dead
when
Space 2 is one of the greatest. Go ahead.
I
Rick.
honestly, when the trailer dropped, I was like, "Is this a preview for the Dead Space?"
That's what I thought it might be
remaster.
too. Yeah.
And then like the more it went on, I was like, I don't like. I've never played Dead Space, but you know, you obviously had the guy in the suit and you know that kind of thing, and I was like, this looks a little more intense, and a little bit more graphic.
He didn't have like the Dead Space helmet that you recognize.
Right.
That's the one
Mhm.
thing everyone recognizes.
Well, and you know
Right.
what's funny about this is that this game is coming out a month before the Dead Space remake.
I know it's great. I love it. I'm gonna get both and play both like
lots
day
of
one.
meat, lots of
Mhm.
meat that month.
Lots of
yeah,
meat.
we're gonna be. I mean, dude, the
Yeah.
whole fucking year it seems like is just bogged down in really really hotly anticipated releases.
It's gonna be real fun to examine whether Callisto Protocol or Dead Space has more meat moss that you have to walk around on. It's not a good horror movie unless you got to walk on some meat moss.
I will say that the other one that kind of had my interest was Season A Letter to the Future, which is the one with the girl that was kind of like going around and interviewing the village. And like trying to figure out like the future or whatever, just based on the narrative that was given. That also looked kind of interesting to me. Just because I enjoy like storytelling games. But those were my two, Callisto for sure, and then Season A Letter to the Future.
Yeah, both of those also look great. Callisto, like I'm not a big horror guy, but Callisto like seems to have the right balance of horror for me.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I'll definitely try this out. And yeah, Season has been like a game that the indie community has been looking forward to for a long time, and it's cool that we finally got to see like more of the actual gameplay of what that game is. So I'm also excited for both of those titles.
Yeah, if you've ever played Dead Space, and you
It's
want
Resident Evil 4 in space.
well,
It's Resident Evil 4, but
I
Event
was going to say
Horizon.
more than that. If you've ever seen John Carpenter's The Thing, you've got a good sense for the kind of horror you're in for. It's very very gooey body horror, which rules. That's the kind of shit I
Gooey,
like.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's very very rippy and teary
I'm
and
walking
gooey.
on meat moss.
Whoa! That's gonna be stuck in my head all night now, Derek. God damn it. All right. Well, so we are bumping up against our time here, man. Like, we didn't even get to Pokemon or Sonic or
Pokemon. No, I wanted to talk about Pokemon so bad.
we will either we will either get to that next week or we can do a pre-record it. We can do an after hours about it.
We'll see.
More than happy to
Sonic,
do that.
we've got to see a whole lot fucking more on, and Pokemon, the new information honestly raises more questions for me than it answers. So
No, did you see those?
it looks incredible, but how the fuck are you gonna do gyms out of order? How's that gonna work? Are they gonna be? I don't know.
Well, here's the other thing, and I mentioned this to Derek on the phone. It's like if you are going to market this as the first true open world Pokemon game, like you've got to have more to do out in the world other than catch Pokemon. You have to. And so like I agree with Derek. Like there's a lot of like it looks wonderful. There's a lot of unanswered questions here. And I wouldn't say that there are concerns, but I would also say
did you see the professors though?
Thank you.
Yeah.
By the way, Professor what's the
professors were both just like, hey, we saw you from across the bar, and we're really digging your vibe, your whole energy.
Professor Sada has fangs. I like
Which one's Sada?
She's
of course it's the girl, right? Yeah,
she got fangs,
right?
Yeah, what version?
Something about fangs on women. I don't know.
Or what version are you going to play first? At the very least,
I'm getting Violet simply for that legendary Pokemon. That looks like
they
both
much better.
Rule. Yeah. They great legendary designs.
Yeah, though this is the first like legendary designs that are like pretty solid. Since
I'm gonna say since Ruby and Sapphire, motherfuckers.
No,
I'll say it.
I mean, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Sun and Moon for me. Sun and Moon.
Like
Sun and Moon did have decent legendaries, but man, yeah, I'm gonna say it.
I don't know. Or Lunala or whatever, like just reminded me of Yveltal, but it was very similar in design.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I will say about Sun and Moon, it's like what you expect. It's a sun and a moon. Like these
Yeah.
are just original creations that don't just look like
Weird motorcycle dragons.
there
I
isn't
love
like
them.
there isn't
yeah.
like some tie to like something. It seems like
the one in
Yeah.
Violet looks like just like a cyber dragon, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm all
it's
over that.
really cool.
Like,
Team
oh,
Grape. Team Grape.
Rocket Dragon.
I do have
Yeah.
a question before we log.
Before we
The
log off forever.
the professors, are they tied to a game, or do you
They
get
better
to
the
choose?
fuck not be.
Yeah,
no,
Don't
they
make
are.
me do
They are
this.
tied to it. I can confirm they are tied.
Yeah,
to
they
it.
are. No, so the dude is tied to Violet, and
Violet.
the chick is
Scarlet.
is
Yeah.
tied to Scarlet.
I don't. You're gonna make me choose between them?
that's not fair.
My bisexual king and queen?
See, here's the thing, Derek.
Here-
This is how they get you. They want you to buy both.
I have a wife. We're gonna get both anyway, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
get the
always
one.
buy. I always buy both.
I'm gonna get the one that she doesn't want to play. So
because they
that's how
started
that
doing
works.
they started doing this bullshit where they don't have a third version where you can get all three legendaries or
Yes,
whatever.
Bullshit.
So you have to play both to get if you want the living decks. And I hate it. I already pre-ordered the dual pack or whatever. I was just like, okay. So
They are in fact locking those professors to either game, which kind of stinks. Like I get it, but it still kind of stinks. Like I said, I'm getting Violet. I'm getting Violet for the legendary, and that's it. Like that's at least that's what I'm playing through
I
first.
might be getting.
yeah, I'm
Scarlet
getting
for the
both,
Fang
but I'm
Lady.
playing through Violet first.
Yeah.
Derek.
Derek, what'd you say?
I said I might be getting Scarlet for the Fang Lady. I don't.
The thing,
I mean,
lady.
look, dude, like
It's a
Okay,
hard choice, but
let me say this: is it going to be your decision or Martha's?
oh, it's Martha's decision. Don't
I'm
even
going to
fucking
not
bullshit.
broach the subject and
Oh
hope
my
that she
God.
makes the right choice.
Oh my god!
You should just show. You know what? Just show her.
But
Professor.
Violet's a better. I like purple more as a color, though. God damn it.
Oh, purple's the best color.
Right, it's a
Purple's a
great
good color.
I don't know.
That's why our SDGC shirts are purple.
I'm in trouble.
All right, we're past our time here. We'll go ahead and call it quits here. Wow, we didn't even get to talk about what we were playing this week. What a packed week this was. And
I get the feeling the next several weeks are going to be.
we're gonna have a busy few weeks. We've got Microsoft next week. That's the 12th. So that's not next week. It's the week after, right?
I need somebody to just put like a calendar together for me. I can't do it.
So yeah, no. So Microsoft is the week after. So Microsoft is the 12th. And within the next 2 weeks we're having a Nintendo Direct. So that's going to happen.
So at least.
No, we will. And then whatever Ubisoft is going to do, whatever EA is going to do, whether or not Square Enix will have their own conference like they did last year, who knows? There's Astro. What a good
He's
dog.
like, hell yeah, give kisses.
It's June is always a busy month for all content creators, and we are no exception. So we will get to some.
Also,
Pokemon.
Brittany's birthday is coming up, and so is my birthday. So
Oh shit! I gotta get you guys some presents.
say happy birthday.
Right. So mine's on Saturday. Derek's is on Sunday. So Friday night we're going to be doing a Smash or Pass stream.
I don't know if we'll be able to get Stormy or Pillnock to rejoin us. We'll figure something out.
Thanks for telling me.
Smash or Pass stream.
Yeah, we did one. We did one with Pillnock and with Stormageddon.
What's the deal? You don't want me on your Smash and Pass stream?
You're straight.
Because you would be
You're gonna be
extremely
a pass on a bare minimum half the.
Hold on. Wait. Britt, did you say I would be extremely boring?
Yes.
That's fair. No, that's
It just
fair.
takes half the energy out, right?
No, that's fair.
You get a bunch of buy or pan disasters together, and you go, here you
That's
go.
fair. That's completely fair.
Who wants to fuck Tony the Tiger? And we just,
Everybody hit that smash
it
button.
turns out everybody. So
See?
anyway.
Look at his face. He's thinking about it.
Yeah.
So before we go,
I'd pass on Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, well.
I passed
It's
on
a
Captain
tiger.
Crunch. That's not even the worst of
your
it, John.
mind.
I played Mass Effect. There's weirder shit in that. Come on.
Yeah.
Open your mind.
Can we just say that Derek Wheeler just said, John, I have fucked weirder shit than a tiger, okay? Like, come
I'm
on,
just
John.
saying, if I'm willing to hit a Krogan, then Tiger's got to be up there
Yes,
somewhere.
monster lovers are I think we all admitted to being monster fuckers on the last Smash or Pass stream.
Pilnock was the one that gave a little pushback on that, though.
Yeah, but then she said yes to like every monstrous. Like,
So we were gonna do this one on the official channel.
I think it's better we just do this on mine again, or something. I don't think we should do.
Okay.
Well, yeah, let's keep. That's a little explicit to put on the official channel. So
Okay.
let's let John survive this one.
Okay, Shadow the Hedgehog, Smash or Pass?
Smash.
I'll pass.
Oh my god. Okay.
Purely based on his personality,
I'm
though.
a sucker for a good emo boy. I like Sasuke.
I don't like
Oh yeah,
fucking-
Smash Sasuke for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What
Maybe,
about?
I don't know. Let's just keep putting John through this.
He was like, oh, "Why don't you guys invite me?" And now look at him. This is why, John.
Yeah, John. This is
John,
why.
who's your favorite like above age fictional character?
John, Lady Dimitrescu, Smash or Pass. As her
Who
final
would
form.
say pass?
As her final
Oh.
form.
Oh, well, that's a pass. There's really nothing going for me there.
You guys are so weird.
Yeah. Folks, it's been a real one. We'll do dumb bullshit tomorrow night.
Smash the Smash Cast.
We'll be here. We'll be here. I think we did that as well.
What one?
The Smash Cast.
Yeah, we
I'm
did
pretty
the
sure we did that.
whole Smash Cast, yeah.
Yeah. There's several children on that though that we had to skip for obvious
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah.
Not even up for debate. So, but yeah, no. Folks,
Wait, before we go, hold
we
on.
go.
One last question, John. Kirby,
What?
Smash or Pass?
I got to pass on Kirby. Kirby's too. Well, okay. Here's the thing.
Is Kirby utilizing mouthful mode?
Yeah.
He did the
No, like
stream.
yeah.
He did the
It's
stream.